Hello again, Phil Simborg for the USBGF, and I have got a DMP play, and I have what I think is the best DMP player in the world with me, Stick, who has become famous for his DMP play because he has so much damn time on his hands. He sits around and plays matches just about every day, hour after hour, and gets it right because he also has the theory that if you play DMP right, you're going to play a lot of other scores right because the DMP play is usually right. So I really wasn't sure of the right play here. I want you to think about the right play, and let's hear what Stick has to say about it. You can pause the recording and think about what you're going to do. I think slotting the 3-point might be right, but there are other plays you can look at. So pause the recording, see what you think, and then we'll hear what Stick has to say. Okay, we'll make it easy for you. I thought about making the 3-point or switching and hitting off the ace, and I really wasn't sure which of those two is right. It's pretty clear it has to be one of those two. What's right and why, Stick?
All right, so DMP, one of the things I've always preached is to get ahead in the race and then race. I mean, that's usually what you want to do at DMP. You've got a big lead like this, like we do here, and you think, hey, I just want to run around the board all quietly and safe. So you could be, I could see how you could be tempted into making a 3-point here. I mean, it's obviously a great point if you're the best 5-point board there is. But you can't take rules like that blindly because we're not in a race yet. We don't have our back checker escape. We can't make it into a race this turn. So you can't just go on quiet mode when you haven't escaped all your checkers. That's more like once your checkers are out to the midpoint, you know, kind of thing. So here, what we need to do is we need to make a tempo hit. So we need to switch to the ace point. And the reason we need to do that is, one, it keeps blue from doing anything on his side of the board. Obviously, he can make improvements. He can make the bar. He can make the 3. He can even just hop his checker out and get more outfield coverage, something like that. Another thing it does that we usually don't think about too much at DMP is it allows us to blitz. Blitzing is not a bad idea here. By making the ace point, we push him forward and we push him into our 2 and 3 points. So if he does enter, we have all our checkers in the zone aimed at him to attack him cleanly. And we also obviously step up from the back, so we have more escaping numbers, and we put pressure on his blot with the 6s for the 45% of the time he fans. So even though we're way up in the race, blitzing is still an option here, because if we close the guy out, obviously it's the easiest way to play the game and get our guys around.
Let's take a look at the other play and see what the negatives are, because no play is good or bad without comparing it to the other play. What's bad about this play, first of all, is what happens if he rolls a 2-1? What happens if he makes his 3-point and you don't roll a 6? What happens if he rolls a 6? What happens if none of those things happen and you don't roll a 6 next time? How are you going to play your checkers? Something's got to give. You're stiff. You're going to have to break this point and maybe leave a shot, or break this point and maybe leave a shot, and it could get messy. And maybe he's hitting you, and the next thing you know, he's blitzing you. When you make this play, all those same things could happen, but it's going to take 2 or 3 rolls and a couple of bad combinations before it happens. One of the things that Stick did is something that I think is a key concept of backgammon. You are looking at what's most likely to happen, the most common variation on just the next roll, to figure out what's going on. And Stick looked at it. 45% of the time he doesn't come in, and you're in great shape to either make this point or hit or just escape or bring more builders down. You're in great shape when he dances here, and that's something that doesn't happen when you don't hit him. The dance doesn't happen. It allows him to do something productive. What happens if he does come in? If he does come in, it's pretty hard to imagine that he's coming in and safely this checker and this checker, unless you roll some kind of a joker or some kind of doubles. But somewhere, you're shooting at him somewhere, and even if you don't shoot at him, that's okay, because you're up 31 pips in the race. You'd be happy to just escape this checker, and it certainly is going to be easier to escape the checker when you have a 6 or a 4 than when you're back here and you can only escape with a 6. So just looking at what the upside and the downside of both plays and what could happen on the next roll screams at making this point, and I'm embarrassed to say that I had problems with this because it looked so good to make the other play. Now, let's test Stick's theory. Let's make this into a normal match score or a money game, and see if the DMP play is still right, or if we have incentives to make other plays. Well, let's take off the Jacobi rule because of the gammon complication of having to turn the cube. Or let's just turn it into a match at, let's say, 7 away, 7 away. Would you make a different play now? Because now gammons matter and backgammons matter. Give it some thought and see if it changes your play any. All right, Stick, did it change your play?
No, it didn't change my play at all, other than I would have doubled before the roll, just so everyone knows that. I think okay. I would have doubled before the roll anyway.
All right, so let's give blue the cube and see.
Yeah.
First of all, let's see if you're right.
Yeah.
Double action certainly looks pretty strong. It's with red on roll. Why does it say invalid cube? Shouldn't say that. Let's try it anyway.
Yeah, I think it'll work.
Yeah. It says it is a double and a take, and I don't know what this is. Some kind of a flaw in this.
Take a checker off and put it back on the board, and now analyze it and see if it does. That's weird.
Still says that. Still says that, but that's okay. We can ignore that. It's clearly right to double and clearly right to take. So let's make a double and a take, and now let's look at the checker play, double one. This is a new beta version that we're testing here, and it could be that's a flaw. Looks like it disappeared now. And now, because there's not a cube action. Now let's see how the double one plays. Again, Stick is right. When in doubt, make the DMP play. Making the 3-point is not on my top 10 plays, and I only show the top 10. By the way, I like to show only the top 10 instead of a whole bunch of plays and just look at the top 10. Unfortunately, I'm the kind of player where sometimes my play is not in the top 10. So if you're like me, you right-click and you hit Show All Moves, and let's just see how bad the making the 3-point is. And I don't believe that it's 386, so I'm going to plus it, make it. I'm sure it's not 386. It's only yeah.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
It's only 381. See, I knew it wasn't that bad. I knew it wasn't that bad an option. But it's amazing how huge it is. It's actually more right to make this play now for money in a match play than it would be at DMP, because you pick up not only more wins, you do pick up a lot more gammon by hitting. So it swings the other way. Any other comments about this play, Stick?
Nope, I think that's it.
Okay, Stick, thank you for your time. Thanks for donating your expertise to the USBGF, and we'll see you on another position in the future.